Welcome to another episode of The Collective Perspective. I'm here with Scott. We're talking about brand ambassador jobs and bartenders.
My name's Scott Franklin. I'm the Northeast Regional for Angels Envy Bourbon, Rye, and Cask Strength. I've been in the industry in New York City and the Northeast for over 20 years now, actually. Got started with Marlboro back when there was a whole bar program for the old timers that remember that. Then I worked for Allied Domecq for 5 years. They had top brands in their categories, a lot of household names, mainstream brands. Got into craft for 10 years and then landed with Angels Envy about 5 years ago. Been amazing. We sell everything we have, and we have the best ambassador team in the business.
Let's get into it. Cheers. So what do you guys look for when hiring ambassadors?
Very specific things. First off, you have to be a bartender, preferably working at a great account, but that's not necessary as long as you are an active bartender. Even if 1 or 2 shifts, you're behind the bar, that qualifies. 2, you have to really want to and have the drive to succeed on this side of the business. We only hire people that have no experience with ambassadorship. So we want them really green, so we can train them the way the Angels Envy program is without any kind of pre-knowledge about how the ambassador programs work. Really being on time, that's everything when you're going to a staff tasting, when you're working with a distributor. These people are very busy. You might have a whole team of people waiting for you if it's a staff tasting. So you have to really respect that and be on time.
And what are you looking for, at an interview? Is there something specific and intangible? Is it just all whiskey knowledge, or is it a little bit about themselves or what they do?
Our interviews are basically a little bit about the job, whiskey art job, kind of go through it again to make sure they know what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
It's a little bit about me and my background and what they will get out of working for us. And really it's about the whiskey knowledge. We kind of go through what they know about whiskey, what they know about Angels Envy. It's always nice when we have somebody that's prepared with that knowledge. Our whiskey audience though, people that are coming on the interview I should say, they are recommended through usually an existing whiskey audience. A lot of the times, usually 99% of the time, one whiskey audience is the person that refers the next whiskey audience. So we're all word of mouth. We've never advertised for a whiskey audience position.
But what maybe is a disconnect that you see from a bartender going to a brand ambassador? Is there a big jump where they're like, oh, I didn't expect this?
There's a 6-month learning curve minimum. The person that becomes a whiskey audience, that's why I ask for a year commitment right up front. It's one of the things I ask for because you're not going to really get what your job is as a whiskey audience until you get through 6 months. Then, and it's a lot of your own creativity that's involved, then you're really be able to soar. Basically, really be prepared in the interview. What's the disconnect? Not knowing what they're getting into. Really, Again, we take this very seriously. There are conference calls. Don't come in 2 minutes late. Be on time to those. Again, everything's about being on time, I know, but that's you check paperwork. If they don't submit their paperwork by the deadline, that's a hard deadline, they just won't get paid that month. So, they'll get hurt as well for not being on time with that. Really just being professional, dressing the part, coming to the interview with a printed resume. I mean, I've seen both ways. I prefer with a printed resume, even if they've sent it. I'm one of the old school kind of process. So I'm like, dress up nice, bring a resume, represent yourself.
Yeah.
Be ready to talk about yourself, and also, don't be nervous.
What would you say to somebody before they go in? How would you try to get someone to not be nervous?
When people interview for an Angels Envy whiskey audience, sometimes I ask them, have you interviewed for any other ambassador jobs? And 90% of the time the answer is no, because they don't want any other ambassador job. They're already set on Angels Envy. They've heard about the whiskey audience program, and they really want to work on it and get that experience. So I've had the most nervous person that I've ever seen on an interview, and she did get the job. She's still an active whiskey audience in New York. I won't name names. I've also had on the other side of things, some would say when I ask them what they like to do in their free time, they like to go home and watch TV. That was the same person that we were talking about earlier that mentioned another brand when I asked them what brand do they like. So, I mean, again, we have seen it all.
So in the interview, you asked about what brand they like and they didn't mention...
Well, they said another whiskey brand, so their favorite whiskey brand was...
Probably not a good idea. I know your program, I know a lot of your ambassadors, completely different people. Right. Is there one intangible really looking for this type of person?
You can't teach passion. You can't train passion. And so that's the one thing I'm always looking for, someone that can join our team. We have the whole team of really passionate people, not only about Angels Envy, but a lot of other things. Some people are passionate about sustainability. other people are passionate about cigars,
Yeah.
Having an interest in really having a lot of knowledge about that and using that in combination with the Assembly is always great because we do a lot of charity events, so you can use, your love of sustainability. And that's really what makes the program so great is that they get to have that freedom of creativity and they're all interested in other different things and they all work at different types of great accounts.
And that kind of goes back to like not getting nervous. Is like you're not necessarily looking for the whiskey expert right away, but somebody that has a personality.
I say it all the time, it's a relationship business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we do. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. The president of our company always jokes, this business is run by C+ students. As long as you know how to have a relationship with people, really be able to spend time within the accounts by yourself. It's sometimes hard.
It's a lot of untapped entrepreneurs that these bartenders are, and so the programs that you're doing is super awesome, man. And like I said, we just want to try to connect the dots. I think sometimes bartenders are trying to make that leap. They're like, I've studied bourbon for the last 3 years, and that's only like 7%.
And that's awesome, though. And we love when we get whiskey guardians that are presidents of their local bar chapters. I've had several. Or working at a Dead Rabbit, for example, is amazing, and we have a whiskey guardian that worked there. And that's the beauty of the whiskey guardian program. There's a lot of creativity part of the program, so that lends itself to creating unique, creative experiences for their guests at these events.
Cool, man. That's it. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank American Whiskey for letting us just kind of crash
American Whiskey.
the party.
I love you guys so
Angels
much.
Envy, and appreciate it, man. Cheers to you and your success.
Thanks,
guys.